That is the reason why when 10 of our women are killed, raped and killed in India, you don't hear about it. These guys don't even stand up and talk about it. And I attribute that directly to this Gandhi. Gandhi also called our people as Harijan. I don't know whether you heard the word. Harijan means, Hari means God, Jan means children, children of God. Dr. Ambedkar got so mad. I said, don't call our people with any sweet names. Call a slave, the slave will revolt. You call a slave as the children of God, you are taming them a little more, making you a better slave. And that is exactly what he was doing. But in fact, it has got a different connotation. The word Harijan has a different connotation because the Hindu religion has so many evil practices. One of them is to make the young girls and women of untouchable community to be dedicated to the Hindu temples. This is one of the practices. It is called Devadasi system. See, these people, untouchables, are so ignorant, so absolutely uneducated. They think next life is going to be better if this Brahmin tells me whatever I should do. So he says, you have a nice looking girl, so you dedicate her to temple. So she can clean the temple around and dance and entertain the priests. Yes. And the children born out of those relationship, to me, they're called bastards. And they called Harijans. Because the fathers were close to God. And this word was coined almost about 50 years before Gandhi first introduced this word. A poet has already coined this word, calling these children as Harijans, meaning bastards. And Gandhi comes around and calls the entire community as Harijans. So Dr. Ambedkar got mad. I said, don't you ever use this word. And he even passed a resolution in the local parliament. But the Hindus are the majority. They had the power. They introduced it, and we are called Harijans. But today, we don't call that Harijans. We don't even call ourselves untouchables. We use the word untouchables in certain circumstances. They call us untouchable. There is no reason why we should call ourselves untouchables. Okay? So we call untouchables when we come to UN, because that explains the truth, the naked truth. Otherwise, we call us Dalits, meaning broken and crushed. And this word also brought the people together. The reason why India, you know, is a fairly big country. It's not as big as the United States. It's only 1/3 the size. But the population today is almost close to 1 billion. Okay. India is divided by regions. Every region, they speak different languages. So an untouchable from one region has no connection with the untouchable of the other region. That is number one. Number two, the beginning 4 major castes, then the 5th caste, the untouchable. Then what they did, the Brahmins wanted to make sure these caste delineation stay within that framework. So they created what is called subcaste, which is caste within the caste system. And then told them, you are higher and you are lower between the caste system. So the untouchables are already lowest. But among them, the certain untouchables were cleaning the roads, streets, the sweepers. Certain untouchables were cleaning the bathrooms. And certain untouchables were carrying the dead animals. So they said, your job is more filthier than your job. So you are upper caste and you are lower caste within the caste. So these guys are fighting with each other, trying to figure out who is upper and who is lower. And they've completely forgotten the enemy that they're supposed to be fighting against. So there are several reasons as to why there could not be any unity. We can never unite. Without unity, we cannot fight. So this all worked against us. And Gandhi played his trick. So when 47 came, when India about to leave, Indians have to write a constitution, new constitution. Do you believe that? Ultimately, they had to go to this untouchable to write the constitution. The person who wrote the constitution, they still claim this is one of the best constitutions, is same Dr. Ambedkar. So he took that as a chance to put a lot of guidelines into the constitution to help his people, to make sure that we get education, free education, we have jobs, all these protections. But that does not mean just because it is in the constitution, it is being practiced. What is written one thing, what is practiced other things. But within that, people like us, little lucky people, just able to creep off, crawl and come out. And that is how, like me, without that person, I would not be here. So for me, if there is a God, they tell me that I have to pray a God, and this is my God. He is my ancestor. So this is the man I should thank. These gods, all these gods have been there 3,000 years. They never even looked at me. As a matter of fact, they won't even let me come close to them. So that is the Gandhi that I want to talk about a little more. And as a matter of fact, I want to go back and touch upon a couple of issues. Two things I want to talk about Gandhi. Number one, the so-called non-violence. And then come back and tell you what he did specifically in South Africa. Before that, I want to say something about Gandhi. Most of the time when you hear Gandhi's name, you would hear as Mahatma Gandhi. But you haven't heard that word from me till now. Because when my savior, my emancipator, called this guy as number one enemy of the untouchable, why should I call this guy a Mahatma? Mahatma means great soul. He was a great soul. He is a great soul for his race, not for me. For me, he was an evil man. Non-violence. What is non-violence? Nobody defined non-violence. People heard non-violence. Anybody can say non-violence. Probably even Hitler said sometimes non-violence. Does it mean that we need to glorify Hitler? And that's exactly the African American community is doing in this country once a year during Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. When I came to this country, when I heard that, my blood boiled. My blood boiled. What is it people are doing? I thought the African Americans are better educated compared to the untouchables in India. Are they? No. I don't know. I don't know. Yes, this guy Gandhi said non-violence. But you know what he meant by non-violence? He said, hey, your master will hit you, but you don't hit him back. That is the non-violence you practice. Be non-violent when somebody hits you. That is the definition of non-violence this Mr. Gandhi used. I do not know whether Dr. Martin Luther King got the whole story or not. Obviously he did not. But that's what Dr. John Henry Clark told me. Because I have a proof. I understand Dr. Clark tried his best to go to Dr. Martin Luther King to tell him the real Gandhi. But there are people around Dr. King who would not allow Dr. Clark to go close to Dr. King to tell the story. But it's time that we get the facts.